I know everybody's got, you have, things you got to do. But if you're driving or anything like that right now, it's probably in your best interest to pull over and take notes. Um, if not, I mean, it's your life, it's your call, but I think you'd be losing money if you're not fully paying attention. All right, so Jeremy, man, it's you and me. You ready to rock?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, cool, brother. Yeah, man. So I mean, how long have you been here now?
I got started, I guess it was May of last year. I got licensed on my birthday, March 30th, and got got some leads in April, I believe, and really got started in May, and it was it was pretty bad.
I heard. How bad was it?
Oh man, it was so bad that I don't count April, and I barely count May whenever I talk about my progression in this business. It's embarrassing sometimes, but the only reason, and I know people get value out of hearing it. I mean, it was so I got started, I got fired up, and I'm like, man, this is going to be it. I'm going back, and I'm telling my wife, and I'm telling my kids, and I'm telling them, like, life is getting ready to change for us. I mean, when I take a look at that picture sitting behind you, that's what I thought I was getting ready to come into. So I thought I was going to have the ultimate Jordan Belfort story. Like, this was going to be Wolf of Wall Street, like replayed, redone with Jeremy Whitaker as Jordan Belfort. That's what I thought this was going to be. And I thought it was just going to be, easy. The truth of the matter of it is, it wasn't. It was hard. It was tough. I'm the guy who literally bought up some leads, called through them, well, try or act like I was calling through them. I would get a couple phone calls in, get my first I fuck off. Or, excuse me, I don't know if we can say those words on this. I'm not on my call.
No, no, you're good. You're good.
First,
You're good.
you say what?
You're good, man. I told you. I said
Get
keep it
my
100.
first. Leave me alone. I'm not interested. And then I had a plan B. And my plan B was, well, I was a meat man. I could get out and I could go on my truck. I could go out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon if I needed to, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock if I needed to, drive 30, 45 minutes away and go out and make cash, put that in my pocket. So
Just
really for
knocking
me,
on doors, right?
I was still holding on to the things in my past. And, I knew that for me, it never can be that way. I had to go like literally all in, and that's the reason I felt so bad, because I had that backup plan, because I had another way of escape to say this isn't working. Let me go do this over here, and then I'll come back to symmetry. I'll come back and do that, whenever things are better, whenever my finances can handle it. And so what I did was, for about 3 weeks in a row, I bought leads every single week, because that's what my mentor told me to do. He said, buy leads. Just don't stop. You just keep buying leads over and over and over again. So I bought leads, $300, $600, $900. I spent $900 on leads before I ever booked my first appointment. And
Hold on. Before
go
you
ahead.
spent $900 on leads before you booked your first appointment.
Yeah.
How much did you spend on leads before you made your first sale? Do you know?
um, Probably.
Yes.
Well, I was at $300 a week. I had a consistent budget, and I didn't make my first sale until my fifth week. So we're looking about $1,500, $1,800 before I ever really made a sale, before I ever seen anything come out of this business. And for me, it was frustrating, because not only did I have the leads into it, I was being petty about it. I've got the phone bill that I kept paid because I had to do this business, right? Because I wasn't going to have a phone any other way. I had, the license that I had to put out 100 here and 50 here and pay these fees, and then stuff that was my own fault from years and years ago that I had to pay off in order to get a license in my state. And so for me, it was like I'm $2,500 in, and I hadn't seen anything come out of it. And that's how bad it was. I mean, whenever I struggled, it was struggle to the sense of, well, I would get on the phone, like literally, I called all through all those leads after I worked back up the confidence to get back on the phone and get out of my meat truck, put that in the back burner, and get back on the phone. And what carried me through is those days that I would get on, get off the phone, get on the truck, go out, knock on doors, make my living. I get off, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on my way home, and I check GroupMe. And on the Smith Master Agency GroupMe, you have people out there going, 4 appointments, 3 sits, 4 applications, 5 applications, $7,000 in APV. And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, man, these people, even if they only are at 60%, somebody went out and worked half the hours I did probably and made 3 or 4 times the amount of money. They went out and made $3,500. And I went out today and made 200 and worked from sun up to sundown to get it. And so for me, that was my salvation, was GroupMe, and really getting to see what this business could do. And me looking back and going, man, if these people are doing it, well, why is it that I can't do it? There should be no reason why I can't do it. If it can be done by them, that just proves it can be done by anybody.
Yeah, man, that's it's crazy. It's crazy just hearing that you went 5 weeks, and I know people that quit this business before they make 115 dials and they're gone, disappeared, like finito. Next thing you know, I'm being crazy. I'm looking them up on Facebook, like, yo, what happened to you? But no, that's great, man. I want to get into some of the some of the questions that came in, and I want to give you a heads up. Somebody on the team asked, they want to hear your role and purpose. I'll get to that, a little bit in the call. So just heads up, you're going to want to hear that.
Okay.
So here's some questions that Rick had sent me over from his team, and the first one is, what were some of the hardships in the business and how you overcame them? I know you kind of just touched that, but we really want to figure out how you did that. But before we get to that, I didn't even, everybody knows you're the #1 producer in the company right now, but do you know what you're at on the year right now for production?
Oh, 400, and after this week, 410,000.
There you go, man. It's funny. Real top producers know their numbers.
Absolutely.
Always. So that's cool, man. 410 grand, man. That's incredible. So yeah, man. What were some of the hardships that you had, and how did you really come over them?
Well, and I guess I can kind of continue with where I was, because really the phone didn't turn around for me just overnight. All right, like for me.
So you were bad on the phones, right?
You say what?
So you were bad on the phones. Is that where you were struggling the most?
That's where I struggled at everything, man. That's where the struggle started, right? Because that's the first part of this business. You get on the phone and you book some appointments, and except for I couldn't book some appointments. So after spending $900, I sent out a text message. I can remember it, and I text Brad Smith and I says something along the lines of, "Man, this is tough. I just want you to know that I'm here, that I don't quit, and that's something that I won't do, that you won't find me doing. It's not within my blood. You'll notice that about me sometime soon." And that was the gist of that text message. And the very next day, I guess Brad thought, he's like, man, in the back of my mind, everybody that I've ever heard said, I'm not going to quit. This is just struggling. This is challenging. He's probably going to quit. So he thought I was going to quit. He got me and he talked and he said, hey, that was a Thursday night. That next Friday, he was having an accountability meeting. That's something that he had just started doing since I came into the business with a couple other people, Vlad Suganovich, Jack Gerald, I think Elijah Gibbs was on. There was a couple other people. And he said, I want you to come to this accountability group. And I just want you to bring all your frustrations, to bring all those questions, those places that you're struggling in. And I want you to let the group know and see if they can give you some feedback, see if they can help you out. So on that same morning, 12 o'clock noon, I got on and I started talking about, hey, every single time that I get to book an appointment, if I can keep those people on the phone, at the end of it, it's like I can't get them to trust me. And it's like, I'll say, okay, I'm going to come by and I need a time. What is it, 6:30 or 8? And they go, whoa, nobody's coming to my house. Or they go, can you just mail me something? Or they go, you know what, if you can't just tell me over the phone, quote me the price, I don't want nothing to do with it. I mean, I'm not interested. And all those times I didn't know where to go from that. So I'd go, okay, have a good day. So I took that to the group, and they gave me some pointers. You know, one of them that was really, really helpful for me was I can't remember if it was Brad or if it was Vlad. Both of them had something super similar that they do, and when somebody doesn't want you to book an appointment with them, and one of them said, what I do and what I would try if I were you, I would say I'd go, I would love to, because that would save me a whole lot of time not having to travel all over Arkansas to do this. But I can't, right? I'd love to, but I can't. And when I added that little thing, I went from literally that same day from taking the feedback on the phone. I had 20 A leads that I had bought. I don't even know why he let me buy A leads. I had 20 A leads. I booked 19 appointments out of 20 A leads. And then I went out, and that was great. And it was, like overnight, instantaneously, like things had changed just from me going and getting peer-to-peer coaching and asking other people. And then what I realized was, I was kind of stupid for not doing that before, because I had this mindset coming into this business that I was the best salesperson I knew. I mean, I came from a sales background. I had done sales for 10 years. I had owned a sales company that we grew from just me and my business partner to over 100 salespeople, revolving door salespeople. So obviously, in that kind of door-to-door sales game, you hire a lot of people, you train a lot of people. Some of them stay, and most of them don't, and a lot of them still sell things because the training that you gave them was valuable. So for me, it was like, man, I've trained hundreds, literally hundreds of salespeople who are out selling stuff right now as we speak. And maybe not this early in the morning, essentially, but you get the point.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was no reason why I wouldn't come in here and just destroy it, right? I was going to come in here and blow it up. And what I realized was I had to check my ego, because I didn't want help, because I wanted other people coming to me for answers. Like, how are you coming in here, and what did you do to go out there and write this much business, and you've never done this before? That's a story that I thought I was going to be telling. And when I wasn't able to tell that story, man, it hurt my pride, right? It hurt the inner me. Like I couldn't be the same person that I wanted to be in this business. Then that's what I thought. If I went to other people and I got help and they had to help me through, because I was going to have to give somebody else credit for what I had done. And I didn't want it to be like that. But what I realized after going and booking 19 appointments, going from booking none, was, well, the ego here is big, right? Like there's a reason why on every interview, when I put people on three-ways with Brad Smith, he talks about putting your ego in your back pocket. There's a reason why everybody from state says you got to get rid of that ego. And I didn't know that. I didn't even know I had an ego. I thought, that's fine. I'm the perfect, fit for this company and everything that this company's wanted. But what I didn't realize was that my ego was in the way. So I went out, sat on those appointments. Well, some of them. I sat on, I think, like 12 of them, and I didn't sell anything. And now I'm
Wait. You
lately,
sat on, hold on, Jeremy. You sat on 12 and you said you didn't sell anything?
I didn't sell anything. I didn't sell anything. Everybody was telling me, my dog died last week, and we need to think about it because we got to, whatever their excuse was.
Talk to
But
the
every single appointment, I came out with nothing.
Damn. And you didn't want to quit then, huh?
I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit. Yeah, there's just no quit in me. I can't do it. And that's a blessing and it's a curse, right? Like, there's been things in my life that I should have quit, but I couldn't quit. But there's also been things in my life that I knew that I shouldn't quit, that I didn't quit and follow through, and it worked out. So for for those 12 appointments, after coming back, I immediately, that same, as the end of the week, I scheduled my appointments, the whole week, booking in 20 appointments. I'd have 4 or 5 a day. So Friday, come the end of it, I'm back on the phone. I'm back at that accountability, and I'm going, what's wrong? I knew that I couldn't stay stuck on ego, because the help I got last week that helped me to book those 19 appointments was the same help that was going to be on the phone for me. And, that time I went back, and the coaching was a little bit different. It was still as valuable. See, what I realized was that I was selling. See, everything that I had done, it was a different type of sell, right? Like it was a push you to you buy something. It was more about what you can do for me. I could tell people, look, you helped me out with the steaks, and I'm going to give you free chicken. I'm going to give you free seafood. I'm going to give you a cheesecake. I'll knock off $10 off the price. This business wasn't like that. My last business was all about, hey, can you help me win a bonus? I'm just trying to finish up for the day. I'm just trying to get done. I'm just trying to please the boss, right? And people would buy into that, but I couldn't get that same feeling out of this business. And I said, what am I doing wrong? And I said, walk me through the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of your presentation. Okay, so I went through the first 5 minutes of my presentation, and then somebody stopped me. I think it was Brad Smith, and he said, hold on, hold on. He says, what it sounds like to me is it sounds like you're selling. I say, well, duh. Like that's what I thought this was. I thought I was, supposed to go out and I was supposed to sell, mortgage protection insurance to people. And he says, yeah, this is selling, but this is a different type of selling, right? This isn't like what you've done with me at my home when I bought the steaks and the chicken from you. He said this was more like going to the doctor, right? And you go to the doctor isn't going to try to convince you that you're sick and you need to take these prescriptions. Nobody's going to go to the doctor and go, oh man, he gives me 3 or 4 prescriptions. He came back in the room. Now everything's good. And I'm going through these prescriptions and I'm thinking, yep, this one, I'll take that one. And this one, I'm not so sure about. This other prescription over here, what do I need that for? Nobody does that when they go to the doctor. When the doctor goes in and he makes his professional opinion, he gets his recommendation across, he prescribes that medication. You're not arguing with him. You're just gonna, okay, here, I'm gonna take this down in pharmacy. It says to take this one 3 times a day, this one once a day, this one 2 times a day, and you're gonna do it that way. And he says you've got to think of yourself as a doctor. You've got to think of yourself as that person that people are coming to with problems, and you've got to be the one that solves those problems. You can't think of yourself as a salesman. And when I turned that doctor's cap on, I can remember leaving the house that day going, I'm a doctor, right? I'm a doctor and I'm here to help my patients. He said, because that's what my mentor said he did. He said, before I left the house, I would look at myself in the mirror, look at myself in the eye, and I go, I'm a doctor and I'm here to help my patients. So I found myself doing that every single day. And it changed my mindset about what I do. And, I went out the very next week. I didn't book as many appointments because I was out of money. So I didn't have enough money to buy as many leads that time. So I bought, I think, 10 or 12 leads. And I booked like 8 appointments. I sat down with 6 of them. I wrote 6 applications. I wrote it for $10,000. And really, I was part-time at that point. I was only working Symmetry Wednesday and Thursdays during that whole process because I had to get my bills paid and all this other stuff. And I looked at it and I went, man, I made probably 4, 5, 6 grand in 2 days, really 2 days in the field. And I thought to myself, I said, you know what? 2 days, there's 28 more days in a month. Like, I wonder if I put all those days, if I put all my time in a Century Financial Group, what that's going to do for me. So I can remember getting home that night. I pushed my freezer off my truck, and I told myself, look, there ain't no plan B. I actually broke the lid to my freezer as I was pushing off my truck, intentionally telling myself, look, this seals the deal. There ain't no going back. And not even when times get hard. Like this is what we've got to make work. This is the only option. So when I took that position, I took that approach. I knew that I had nothing to go back to. I knew that I didn't have anything to fall back on. So I had to make this work. This had to be that thing that carried me to the success that I was looking for. And that's how I overcame those first 2 little pieces of the struggle. I know you talk on and on about more of the struggles that I've had in this business, but I know you got more questions.
Yeah, no, man, that is I love starting Monday off with this. Like, this is what it's about. Like, this right here, like, you can get all the training in the world, like, for all the new people on, you can get all the training in the world. You could hear all what you got to say in the home. It's like, it's not even really about that. Like, you said things really switched for you when the freezer broke, or when the lid on your freezer broke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. A lot of people they wake up every day with a plan B. If this doesn't work out, I'm gonna do this. And
Mhm.
that if right there is what kills a lot of people. And that's why I think some of the best producers in the company, they start full time. Or they don't really become the top producers until they become full time.
True.
You know, when you're part time, like I know one guy specifically who was so talented in the agency, and he was dialing with me when I first started out here in Massachusetts, and you know he got hung up on a couple times, and he just took off and left. I'm like, yo, where you going? He goes, I'm going to drive Uber. It's funny because he still takes me to the airport today when I need an Uber. You know, and I don't mean to be like an ass, but like you know, I'm going to the airport twice a month, and he's driving me. He's getting there with me. You know, like oh, and I love him. He's a great guy. But anyways, one question I had for you is, what is your well, first of all, let me just say I was speculating when I said this, but is your wife stay at home
Yeah.
wife with kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started here with a stay at home wife, and you got like 37 kids. No, realistically, how many you got? You had five, right?
We've got 5.
Yeah, you got five. You know, it's cool. That's great because I got my cousin on the line right now, and he's looking at us for the first time. And I was talking to him over the weekend, and he's got like five kids himself, and stay at home, or he's gonna have a stay at home wife. And he's like, man, I'm nervous. I'm scared. Were you nervous and scared, Jeremy?
No, no,
What?
I wasn't nervous at that point because I had done it for so long. My wife has probably worked collectively. We've been blessed by it, right? She's probably collectively worked maybe a year and a half, the 11, almost 12 years we've been together. So that part of it wasn't very scary.
Wow, wow, man, that's incredible. So what is your right now? What does your lead order look like? To become the I know that to become the top producer in the company. I mean, you are you running mostly referrals, or are you running mostly leads, or a combination of both, or
I'm just now getting to the point where I'm even adding referrals in there. It's something that I should have moved on a long time ago, and I hear calls, and I think can't remember who it was that was just on one of our calls the other day. That was going into the way that they get referrals, and actually I do remember it was the Castanos. Aaron Holland and his group did a call on Friday, which was phenomenal, and they went into the fact that 40% Virginia Castano is 35 to $40,000 a month producer, and 40% of her income is referrals. So for me, it slapped me in the face and go, "The heck are you doing?" So I'm adding that, and that's actually something that I'm doing when I go out into the field this week. But right now, it's all been leads, right? It's all been just buying more leads, and
what are you taking right now a week for leads?
about 20. I take 20 A leads if I can get my hands on them, right? Like that's as close as possible I can get. And sometimes that's perfect, right? You guys are in the same system as me. You know, lead flow is great sometimes, and other times that it's a little bit slower than what you want. So most of the time, I'm 15 or 20, sometimes a little over 20 A leads every single week. And when I don't get them, well, then what I found is I love 4A leads. I don't know what it is. This time of the year, last year and this year, my lead flow slowed down for my A lead order. And now I'm getting, I think this last week I had 8 A leads come in, right? And obviously, we both know I'm trying to book 15 to 20 appointments. I mean, the numbers that ain't going to add up, 8 A leads. So then I obviously in those times, I'm buying me some bonus leads. I bought at the end of last week, I had, we coming out of Puerto Rico, I had 11 leads. Tuesday, I booked 8 appointments. I'm sorry, by Tuesday, because we got back, I booked, dialed all day on Saturday, came up with 7 or 8 appointments, dialed a little bit on Sunday, finished up whatever that was. And then I'm running appointments Monday, Tuesday. I'm out of appointments, and I look over, and about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me, a little town, there was 15 4A leads. So I bought those 15 4A leads, and I called and booked another 10 appointments out of those 15 4A leads. And I'm
You
thinking
booked
like,
10, well, hold on. You booked 10 appointments off of 15 4A leads.
yeah. I wish I was able to do that a year and a half ago. That just comes with the territory getting a little bit better on the phone. And yeah, 10 appointments. I ended up with 18 appointments last week. Ended up with like $15,000 in production. but it wouldn't have happened if I was looking at my GMR and going, okay, whatever comes in on it, that's what I'm taking. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be okay with it.
Or if you were being soft and you're like, oh, I'm not going to work 40 leads because they're an hour and a half away.
Yeah, yeah, I see a lot of people do that too.
Yeah, me too, man. Well, no, that's incredible. I remember when we talked in it wasn't in Puerto Rico, when we were in Missouri, I think. Yeah, when we were in Missouri on that little museum tour, we were that was awesome, by the way, just walking through that museum, just having
Yes.
drinking wine and talking about production. You were telling me, I remember I almost, spit my drink out when you said you said you didn't really remember the last time you made 250 dials.
No, no. It's a lot of times, and I get people even within my agency, like the new kids on the block that'll come in and they'll go, oh, I seen that power dollar. It's great, which it is awesome, right? Like I pay for it every single month, but and I've got some people who's on there and they're getting good results out of them. They said it makes them more efficient with their time. For me, the thing isn't hard, right? You pick up the phone, you hit send, you get a book an appointment, you hang up the phone, and you pick up the phone again. So for me, I no, I don't remember the last time I dialed. I think that was way back over 15 months ago. The last time I dialed a 250 dial. Not saying if I didn't need to that I wouldn't, but I just haven't had to. Most of the time, I'm gonna get 15 appointments booked on a Friday in between like 4:30, 5 o'clock, because I run a phone party on a Ring Central. And between like 4:30, I'm setting up and I'm helping other people get started. But then I kick on about 4:30 and I get done about 7:30 in time to help other people finish up.
So you booked
Uh,
15 appointments in 3 hours?
3 hours. I think most of the time it's like 70, 80 dials. Sometimes I hit 100.
Wow. And you are really you're a
It's
great
rough.
you're a great example of what life could be for people if they just put their soft excuses to the side.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all approach, man. It's all the fact that I was so bad on the phone before that I knew why people were hanging up on me. I knew it was because I came off as a telemarketer. I knew it was because sometimes whenever I get excited, I can talk really fast. And I knew that it wasn't effective what I was doing. So my approach is completely different. It helps because I'm in the South a little bit, so I can take the good old boy approach. But nobody feels like I'm a telemarketer. I've got people who, even on those 4A leads, where they never booked an appointment with somebody because they felt like this person was salesy and they were, they were a telemarketer, and they wouldn't get far within their script on the phone, and they'll tell me, look, you're the first person I'm allowing to come over my home, because you're different. Like you don't sound like somebody who's trying to sell me something. I get that on the phone. Those are solid deals in the home, by the way.
Yeah. Wow, man. I don't even know what to say right now. I'm like nervous. I'm like nervous talking to you. No,
Stop it.
it's just incredible, man. Like I over the weekend I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh, my GMR was low and like I'm not grabbing bonus leads and that's just not what I was promised. And it's just like,
Don't we wish that we get everything that and a lot of times I may have thought I had a chip on my shoulder, like I was owed something, like I was promised something, and the truth of the matter is I never was. It just through getting so excited about this business, I thought that everything that I listened to in the video was like fine tuned, like I'm going to put in a GMR for 15 leads, and I'm gonna get 15 leads, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna call 15 leads, I'm gonna book 15 appointments, I'm gonna sell 15 families. And I wish it was just like everything we ever dreamed it to be. But the truth of the matter is it's not, right?
yeah,
The truth of the matter is that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So for me, the first time, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that my GMR didn't come in the way I needed to, get this, it went from 20 A leads in 1 week down to seven. And I'm thinking like, all right, I've got to find bonus leads. Bam, no bonus leads. Well, nothing that wasn't 50 cents. And maybe my humility ain't down to that point where I'm ready to spend that much time dialing. I like getting it done in less than 100. So I didn't take 50-cent leads. But what I did, I said, you know what? Man, Lancaster County, Nebraska. There's 28 leads sitting over there. I'll snatch those up. Get in my truck. I'm gonna drive, 7 hours, 8 hours that it takes to get over there. I'm gonna work those leads. I took my 7 leads and I took those 20, 35 now. Right? I mean, no more problems. That my seven's gonna pay for my road trip, and that 25 is gonna put the money in my pocket. But that's the way you got to look at this business. I mean, some people sorry, sometimes I get excited about this, but some people get so caught up in these emotional aspects of this business, and when things don't go the way that you plan it, you fold, right? And a lot of times I think it's because well, the why ain't big enough. The reason why you're doing this ain't large enough. For me, failure, I mean, me coming back and taking 7 leads and going out and writing half of them, doing 3, 4, 5,000. Yeah, I'm in a 95% contract. So I guess I would make some money, but that's not who I am. My goal, if I get out there in the field, I'm not going out there for less than 10,000. And that's just me. And I'm not telling the people on your team and on this webinar that you've got to have that same mindset. What I'm saying is when you make a commitment about anything, whether that's I'm going to go out and crush it, I'm going to go out and do $3,000 in APV. If that's crushing it for you, guess what? I'm happy for you, first off, because you know what you want out of this business. And when you're getting what you want out of this, that's when you're successful. But for me, it takes more than that for me to get what I want out of this. Whatever I committed to, that's a commitment and a goal. We talk about, I'm sure you guys do. Those are two completely different things. Like my goal is that thing that I'm shooting for in the stratosphere, that like, this is what I want life to look like. But my commitment is, this is my everyday promise to myself, to my family, to my team, to my mentor, that whatever I said I was going to do this month, whatever I said I was going to do this week, I'm going to get out there and get it. I don't care what I got to do, right? I don't care if it's me. I got a guy for 2-3 months in a row, and he's proven himself to be what we call team no sleep, right? Because this isn't about me not sleeping because sleep or because I can't sleep, because I could sleep all day if I wanted to. Like I could kick up and go out and have me a couple drinks and lay and take a nap and do whatever I want to do. We call it team no sleep because we refuse to sleep, right? Like we won't sleep while other people out there sleeping, while other people are accepting what life gives to them. We're out there doing something about it. I ain't got time to sleep, right? I can sleep after I hit one chin and broke out an equity partner. I'll have plenty of time to sleep. Brad Smith, it was awesome meeting him. And what brought me here was the fact that this guy was at home at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. I know it's possible. I know I'm not there yet. So it's whatever it takes, like to get me to that place. If I've got to miss out on some time at home with my family, so be it, right? Everybody wants this work-life balance, and we want it right now. But the thing is, you can have it right now, but you're never going to have the success that you want if you take that and you take that work-life balance and you take it to heart. Like right now, when you first start this business, you're never going to get to that point where your business is running itself. You're going to always be driving your own business. And for me, so every time I hear somebody and their excuses, and we got to call it like it is, they're excuses, right? They're all the reasons why you shouldn't succeed and why you're not going to succeed. And when I start to hear that from people, I got to get off the phone. I got to go, man. I got something that I got to do, because I cannot entertain excuses. I cannot dwell in that place with you. And there's just only so much of it I can stomach. I can't allow your excuses to influence me. And I think that's a lot of times what people need to do is we make excuses and we feel comfortable, we feel like it's acceptable because everybody in our circle is making excuses. Change your circle. Get out of that circle. You are not the one to make excuses. You want to make it to the top of this company. I can guarantee you, Edward Pritchett and Brad Smith, and you think of Marshall Whalen, you think of all those guys, I guarantee you, all of them had many and many reasons why this shouldn't have been successful, why they shouldn't have had a successful week or career, but they didn't buy their own excuses.
Yeah. Damn. Nah, man, that's dude, I don't even know what to say after that. Like there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. I mean, this is just what it is. I posted something in the group me over the weekend, like having free time is a luxury when you're building a business. and that's why it's hard for, I'm sure you have this too, but like when people tell me they want to build a business and then I see them doing this or doing that on the weekend, or I don't hear from them on the weekend, it's hard for me to take them seriously. And it's just like I mentally put a file in my head. It's just like, oh, not can't really take them seriously. Put them in the not taken seriously folder and file it. And it's tough, but like that's a real thing. People come here for work life balance, for time and money, but you have to give time and money before you get time and money. And
True.
the thing is too, it's like this is such a great it's a great system because like like at our old company, Jeremy, and half of the people on this call, I'm going to call it what it is, are from my old company. Half of them, I would say, probably there's 31 people on it. I bet you there's about 15 of them from there. And we had to run 40 appointments a week. And well, that's what some of us did, 30 to 40, 4 days a week. And we would just dial all the time. And like, it sounds like no offense to you, but it doesn't sound like you're working like extremely hard. Like you're making like I bet you, when you're out in the field, I bet what it looks like for you, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're out in the field, like you're working, like you are
Yeah.
working when you are in the field. But when you're home, you bust out your dials and then you're probably doing stuff with your team. But it's not like you're on the phone like setting. It's not like you're on the phone for hours. Like you just told me you're on the phone for 3 hours.
3 hours a week. That's it.
And then if I asked you, what are you spending time wise just on putting money in your pocket on the production side? How much would you say?
Um,
How many hours?
yeah, probably a good 30, 35. I mean, no more than that.
Yeah.
It's those 3 hours on the phone. It's Monday, Tuesday, super long days. It's filling that in with maybe a Wednesday and a Thursday, running a couple appointments here and there. But it's all going to boil down to less than 35 hours a week, man.
Yeah, man. And then what are you depositing in your account monthly off of those 35 hours, not off of your team?
Off of just me, 12 to 15 easy. I mean, give or take. Some weeks, some months, I've had 18 by myself, 20 by myself. But if I had to average it and go, take account for chargebacks, take account for whenever I get something declined or whatever, I'm about 12 to 15,000 dollars a month average.
On average. Okay, guys. Oh, so you get people canceled and you get people declined too?
Absolutely.
That's great. So some takeaways that I just heard. You're trying to take close to 28 leads a week, but usually sometimes it's some. If you average it out, you're probably taking between 12 and 15 A leads a week.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're taking between there. You're dialing about 3 hours. You get it done quickly. You're using a power dialer.
Wait, hold on. We said I paid for a power dialer. Matt Smith, he says when we were at conference, he says I need you to get on and do a testimonial about the power dialer. It's like I'm like, you want me to get on and you want me to lie to people, right? he's like you pay for it every month, don't you use it? No, I pay for it. I like to support the cause, but for me. I see other people getting results out of it, right? And I see other people that spend some time fighting with it. I don't know why I don't use it. I'm not saying it's what I'm saying is it's not necessary, right? It's not something that you have to have in order to only spend 3 hours on the phone if you work on yourself.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. No, that's awesome. Thank you for correcting me on that. Now let me move right along. I know we only got like 14 minutes left, so I want to hit some of the really good questions. Actually, Rick, I'm gonna ask him to do his role and purpose, and I'm gonna turn it over to you to hit on some more questions, just so you can hit the most important ones that you think for your team, for you guys to hear. But yeah, Jeremy, if you wouldn't mind, would you go over your role and purpose with us?
Gotcha. So in the home, and I go through. Obviously, I follow the script just like everybody else, but my role and purpose is tweaked, and it's with a lot of different influences. So first off, I'm going to go. Really, I think it's important that you guys understand what it is that we do, what it is, why I'm here in your home, because I think a lot of times, people will think that I can do magic and I can do things that I can just come in and I can leave you with a policy. I can sell this to you. Your dreams, they're happening. Like you're taken care of. You don't have anything to worry about. Your family's going to stay in the home. And the truth of that matter is, I can't do that for you. Truth of the matter is, I came in here and I hold it up. I've got my client qualification. I came in here with this letter and my tablet, which I'm on. I can't hold that up. I came in here with this letter and my tablet. And that's all I really have. So I think first and foremost, what we need to do is just kind of be clear. Like I can't have it you being on one team, you guys on one team, and me being on another team. Like I've got to make it to where we're both on the same team, right? Like we're both on your team. Like everybody here is on your guys' team, and we're trying to solve your problem. We're working together to come up with a solution for it. So as we go through this, I'm going to ask you a lot of different questions. Some of them are going to be financial. Some of them are going to be, more personal, more emotional. It's not necessarily because I want to know, and I say it this way, I want to know what flavor Kool-Aid you're drinking, but it's really more about me wanting to understand. So I'd say there's really three main reasons, or three main things that I do. The first one is what I'm getting ready to do now is I get to an understanding, sort of an analysis of what's going on here. What are we trying to protect? What are we trying to prevent? That way I know how to, the second thing, educate you guys on that. And that's the biggest of what I do is education, coming through and putting together a strategy that you and that Bob or that Amy can use in order to make sure that what we're trying to avoid, it doesn't happen. And the third thing that we do, because I've already told you, I can't, sell this to you, but what I will do is I'll help you apply when I get ready to leave tonight. So we'll find something that makes sense for you, and we're going to apply for that, right? And as long as we get this, and I'll be 90% sure. Like I can't be 100% sure that you're going to get approved for whatever we apply for. I want to be like 100% upfront about that. But we will do our best to try to make sure that what we apply for today is something that you've got a 95% chance of approving for. And then what I'll do is I go through, okay, so let me start out by explaining, because I told you guys what I do. Let me explain why I do this. For me, I've told you guys we've got 5 children at home, and we lost 2 of those as babies. For us, what it did was it threw us in a bind. We had funerals to pay for. We had credit card debt that we racked up. We had loans that we took out because our heads weren't in the place that we could go to work. My wife wasn't working at the time. I was the sole breadwinner. I couldn't stomach going to work and seeing people. So we took out loans. We got in debt, and we started working with this guy. He helped us get out of this debt. That's what got me interested in financial planning. And I tell my wife's story. I tell about the fact that she was an 11-year-old, lost her dad. They didn't have any insurance. Her mom went from a stay-at-home mom to working 3 jobs at $5 an hour to be able to take care of her. And she had to pick up a job at 11, babysitting kids, 3 and 4 of them up the road from her to be able to help her mom pay bills. I'm telling you, this all made sense because of that. And I want to make sure that we do our best to make sure that we don't end up telling these same stories about anybody else's children, that we don't end up telling these same stories about anybody else's mother or father. And that's why I do what I do. And that's how I'll lead into getting their why out, from my role and purpose to their why. It's not telling my why, I'm telling them how I do it.
Nice. Good stuff. Tim's computer just restarted on him. He'll be right back in.
Yeah, I seen that. I'm like, Tim left the meeting. How did you leave the
meeting? But one of the questions, that's awesome. I love your role and purpose, because it really does come off like I'm here for you. I'm not here for me. I'm here for you, and I'm on your team. And I do a very similar thing like that, and I feel like it brings their guard down a little bit. Like, okay, you're working with me, not against me, just so that you can make $1. So I love that, man. That's what people. That's what they want. It's a touchy situation. This is a personal question of mine, and I don't know if you're doing this. I'm finding a lot of people who get a lot of leads don't utilize door knocks. Do you utilize door knocks? Because I know with your past business with the meat, like I explored that early on when I was young, and that's what I did. I knocked on doors. So I can only imagine. I would think you're utilizing that because I'm sure you want to get resolution on those leads.
Yeah.
Is that something you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a third of my business all day long. Like still to this day, it's always been a third of my business. I keep it. I don't leave my house and go run leads without having door knocks with me. I've got a stack of things, and I don't have them. I'm not like the most organized person in the world. Don't get me wrong. That's not my personality. I believe in paying somebody to do that stuff. So for me, it's I'll take all the leads that I hadn't got a hold of in that area. I just kind of put them all together. Even the ones, it's not necessarily just the ones I didn't get a hold of. The ones that told me I never sent this in, the ones that told me that I'm not interested, hang up, me 3-4 times. I try to call them back. I leave a voicemail. I'll set what they call a soft appointment. So I'll say, hey, I don't know what happened there. Maybe we're in a bad connection. I was just going to let you guys know that I'm going to be out in your area on Tuesday. I'm going to stop by sometime between like 4 and maybe like 4 or 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I'll go ahead and get this taken care of. If it doesn't work in that time, let me know. That way I can push it back, push another. So I still consider that a door knock. But I door knock anything I hadn't got a hold of or anything that didn't give me a yes answer. Why? Because I did door knock for 10 years. I understand how hard it is to tell somebody no to their face, right? Those same people that yelled at me, that told me they weren't interested, that's not, they never sent in that form. I get to their door and they're a completely different person. Half the time, not all the time, but half the time, I'm going to sell that person, and they're not even going to remember the conversation that we had over the phone. And they may say, "Oh yes, somebody did call me about that. I remember that now." But they don't know that somebody was me, right? So it's all about resolution for me, and door knocks is the best way to get that. Some people just don't answer the phone. I know you guys are in a different area. Like here, most of the time I can get 70-75% of the people on the phone, but then that still leaves a quarter of the people who just don't answer the phone. There's so many robocalls, there's so many this, that, and the other telemarketers. They just don't answer the phone for numbers that they don't know, and half the time for numbers that they do know, so numbers that still got the same zip code as them, the same area code as them. So I door knock every week, every day that I'm in the field. It's going out, and in between appointments, you're going to get porch, right? You're going to have appointments that you don't close, that don't take you an hour, hour and a half, because, well, that person you got in there 45 minutes in, you read through them, they read through you, whatever happened, it just wasn't there. So now we got 45 minutes. It's either me, go back in the car, go have some lunch, do whatever. And I just said, it's whatever it takes, right? So I don't care if I've already got my 15 appointments. If I have no business door knocking, if I've already got 20, I'm still going to door knock, because I know that that's a third of my business. Who's willing to give up a third of their business? If you all raise your hand, I mean, like, oh, we're on the wrong call. Like, y'all should have had somebody else over here. I'm not willing to give up a third of my business. Get out there and knock doors. Don't make sense.
Nice, man. Would you mind just going over, maybe not necessarily what you say, just kind of your process to go into the door? Okay, complete stranger at door. What are you doing at my house?
It's really simple. It was the only thing that I could bring from my last business with me. So I'm one of those who, I get to the door. Some people say park on the side of the road, leave the door open, all that. I don't do all that fancy stuff. Sometimes I pull up in the driveway like I own the place. But what I do, I always leave the vehicle running. I want them to hear that big Chevy engine going, so that they think that I'm only there for a couple minutes. So I'm going to get to the door, ring, ring, and I answer the door. I think it's super important. A lot of people who have never knocked doors, that you give people breathing space. So I'm going to take 5 or 6 big steps back. Sometimes just from habit, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to do the whistle thing. I'm looking up at their trees. I'm looking up at their roof. And while I'm doing this through this psychology, and you guys may even know it, is because I'm trying to get them to know that I'm there, but not necessarily know what I'm there about. So I'm looking at their trees or roof, I'm looking whatever, and they don't know who the heck I am. They're like, is this the roof repair guy that's trying to sell me a roof, or whatever it is? Is this a guy who's here to try to register me to vote? So I take a few steps back, I smile real wide. I'm waving, even if I don't see anybody looking, because I want them to think, I see you there, and you see me there. And then they answer the door. Hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm with the Mortgage Protection Group, and I'll hold their lead form up, and I'll go, we got one of these in on you, and nobody's been able to get a hold of you, so they sent me by to go ahead and get it taken care of for you. They sent me by. It's never my own fault. I never decided to stop by because I was in the area taking care of more clients. I don't want you to ask me, oh yeah, who are you over here down the road taking care of? No, it's just they sent me. They're making me do it. They're making me do this. You guys got like 5 or 6 minutes, and they'll go, yeah, great. And they'll, what do you need? And now you're sitting in this door space, right? The object of this is to get in the home. The object of this is to get into that same kitchen table that you're trying to present, even if you're there to book an appointment. So for me, it's, can I borrow your table? I don't take a clipboard or any of that stuff up with me. And if they don't look like they want to let me in the home, I don't have my iPad, I don't have anything. So I'm just sitting there and it's looking all awkward, and I'm finding bricks on their home to see if I'm like, man, this is too horrible. Can I borrow your table for just a second? Oh, sure. Come on in. Right. Because Brad loves it when I say it too. I wish he was on here. But the truth of the matter is, on the porch, you're a pest. In the home, you're a guest. If they're not going to let you in their home, you're not going to get an appointment. You're not going to get a sale there, because they don't look at you as a person that they can trust. So when you got in the home, when you got to that table, I sit down with them. I go through that whole client qualification form, with the exception of one thing. I don't ask them for their why until the very end. I ask them for their why after I've collected everything else on the client qualification form, because I've got really my motive is to get that appointment right then and there. So it's like, okay, I've got the why, I've got some emotion on the table. They're right where I want them. Husband and wife are sitting right there at the kitchen table. I'm going to look down at my empty wrist. I never wore a watch. I'll go, and I'll ask them, I say, what time is it? And they'll look down at their watch or their phone, and they'll go, oh, it's whatever time. And I'll go, you know what? I've got, 20, 35 minutes left before my next appointment. Let me run out. I'll grab my tablet, or I'll grab my laptop, and we'll go ahead and get this knocked out for you. I'm not one, I know we're getting ready to go over. I'm not one to book appointments from door knocks. I want to sit down with them. Appointments are one of those things that can be canceled. We all have it all the time. They get canceled. We get there, they forgot about us, whatever. We're already here. Time's prime, right? I'm going to go ahead and knock out this appointment. That's where I get a third of my business, from sitting down with them. Very, very rarely do I have to book an appointment on the door knock.
That's awesome, man. I love that. And that's something that, myself, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be able to utilize right away, especially with it being Monday. So that's great. I know it's 9:29. I don't want to keep you any longer than I'm sure Tim told you. We probably go till 9:30. I have a ton of questions, but why wouldn't you have a ton of questions for the number one producer in the company, right? So what I'd like to do is just take this last minute that I have just to thank you for taking your time, and taking the time away from your family to pour into all of us and allow us to be that much better than we were 45 minutes before you started talking and pouring into us. So thank you so much. I'm sure if Tim was here, I'm not sure if he's restarted yet, he would say the same thing. We're very grateful to have you. You inspire a lot of people that you've never even met just by your results alone. So thank you for that. And if there's anything that I can ever do for you to repay you for hopping on this call with us, just reach out. You've got the producer side of things. I feel that I'm a very good recruiter, so I'd be more than happy to help your team out in any way possible if you ever need that. So feel free to reach out. But besides that, man, thank you so much. I really just can't tell you how much of a tremendous value this has added to the team. So thanks for hopping on. I really appreciate that.
You're really, really welcome. I mean, this is good for me. Like it's an honor for me to be on this particular call. I just think of who you guys are following as a leader. I mean, we think about, obviously Tim Benzo, and the guy who I've looked up to since I've been here. I didn't know that he was a couple of years younger than me. I thought I was going to be the first, the youngest agency owner. And I went to Brad and I said, man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. And it's like, nope, Benzo already beat him. God, he beat me to the punch. But you never know it, because his posture, because of his demeanor, because of the way he carries himself. you guys have got a really, really genuine, true leader. Like everything that he touches, it seems like it turns to gold. You guys are following the right people, and the leadership with you guys that this whole team has. I mean, this is anybody would be lucky to be in the position that this team is in, to have, you know, the Brian Delaney and the Ayers and Cicely Newton. Like what we have here, what you guys have here. I mean, a lot of people get jealous about it because there's not many people who are that quality as far as leadership goes. I hear people talk about, man, I wish I could be on your team. I wish I could be in your hierarchy, this, that, and the other. I don't get that out of this hierarchy. The people that I talk to on Team Benzo are happy to be on Team Benzo, and I know why. I mean, I would be happy to be on Team Benzo. I'm thinking about sending in my hierarchy change slip over to Brad Smith right now if Benzo would sign it.
I'll sign it, Jeremy. No, I appreciate Jeremy. I appreciate you. Sorry, I lost my my computer just shut off randomly. It was crazy, but yeah, man. No, I just caught the last end of that. But yeah, man, I feel the same way. But you got the Smith brothers that you're direct to, the Smith twins, like, and then you got Edward Pritchett right above it, a Yale graduate with a chemical engineer. It doesn't get any better than that, man. So, Rick, thank you for stepping up and taking over while I shut down. Jeremy, thank you for everything, man. We'll be in touch soon. And, man, I hope you have a great day. And thank you for taking the time away from being number one in the company, away from your family, just to pour into us, man. I hope you have a wonderful day and a blessed day. We'll talk to you soon. All right, brother?
All right. Y'all do the same. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Have a good day, guys.